Hey. Hey, so I just wanted to do a little no-buy check-in. I'm only 5 days into my year-long no-buy. Um, but already I can kind of feel it working. And what I mean by working is that I had a sense that, as I shared before, it's a time that is a very emotionally demanding time of life. And a lot of the way that I feel like I've been dealing with that is by staying a little bit distracted. Hello, baby girl. By staying a little bit distracted by shopping, by giving into that urge to always be using my energy to look for something or stay in that sort of frenetic energy or that kind of, that like antsiness, anxiety of finding, buying, getting. And so I had a sense that once I gave that up or put that away for a while, that it was going to act a little bit as a band-aid coming off and kind of open up the things that I have been trying not to deal with or trying not to think about. And I feel like that is already really happening just 5 days in. So check in from 5 days in. Already there are things that I've wanted to buy. I still have things that are arriving in the mail because I realized actually like 2 days before the no-buy started that I actually had some money that I could spend. I had been waiting. My husband and I are a little stretched in this season right now, and so I had been waiting till his next payday to buy a couple of things that I had kind of on the list. And then as I was waiting, I think the day before payday, I realized that I actually had money that was coming to me from being a trustee of my mom's trust. So there's a small like commission that comes with it yearly. And so I had read that when I signed the paperwork months ago, but I kind of was thinking, oh, this money will probably come from like a check somewhere. And then as I was thinking about it, I was like, well, who would it be paid from? And I realized that the money actually comes out of the trust itself and that I actually was due some of that money. And so I was like, oh, actually, I feel like it's a little gift from God of being able to purchase some of the things that were kind of on my wish list without it impacting our budget, which is a little bit tight right now. So I was encouraged by that. But for that reason, I did make several purchases before my no-buy started. So I still have things coming in. I still have like the anticipation of things arriving that I'm excited about. So I know I haven't yet hit sort of like the drier point of the no-buy where there aren't new things coming in all the time. So I know that I'm still in that kind of interstitial, that like transitional phase, and yeah, that is what it is. But anyway, already though, I feel like emotionally some band-aids are kind of coming off, and that I have just been feeling a lot. And like, I don't feel sad about not shopping. In fact, I feel quite relieved about like just having that off the table right now. But I do feel a lot coming up about about my self-worth, and about the concept of enough, about myself being enough, and like how that's demonstrated. And it makes me realize that I think that's a way that I use shopping, is to make myself feel worth the things I'm buying, or to add value. I don't think it's quite adding value, like to add value externally to myself. I don't think it's quite that simple. That may be part of it. But I think it's just to resonate with something and then be able to acquire it, to want something and be able to get it, and being able to be kind of in control of that process is definitely something that is satisfying for me. That's a part of shopping that I like. Sorry, I'm trying to find kind of my entryway into what it is, the deeper thing that I'm trying to share. But I think essentially like it kind of goes back to where I started with trying to wrestle with the concept of minimalism. So I wouldn't say that I am a minimalist right now, but I would say that I'm a lot more minimal than I used to be when I kind of started that journey around 2019. And it really has paid off. But one of the bigger things that I have learned about myself in that time is to start putting myself at the center of my life, like in terms of like the value of things. You know, like that thing that I want may have value. It may have some sort of intrinsic or socially agreed upon value, but what is the value of it actually to me in my life, you know? And that's what I mean by putting myself at the center of my own life and attributing value out from there, rather than what I used to do, which was to see the thing for itself and its own value, and then, you know, want to acquire it because it's valuable, you know. And that could be value in terms of like a lot of different ways. So I've always been a thrifter. I'm into vintage. So some things have value because they're a perfect example of the period. Some things have value because they are like in incredible condition for their age, you know. Some things have value because they have a great pattern or print. So it's not always monetary value. Sometimes it's aesthetic value. But nonetheless, I realized that's one of the things that I realized is that I really had been operating in this way where it's collecting things of value, collecting treasures and bringing them in, but those things often had very little use value in my life. And of course, some things can be just like objects of art, and there's value in that. But that's one of the things that I find really valuable about some of the principles of minimalism, is I think that by virtue, what they do is put you at the center of your life. And for me, that echoes out in many, many ways, and emotionally, socially, in relationships. It's a change for me to put myself at the center of my life and view things as valuable only in so much as they are important or valuable or useful or add value to my life. In fact, it feels selfish to me to do that, which is crazy. But it feels sort of like it feels like a wrong perspective to have, which is why I know it's really important for me to gain it. Because, you know, yeah, we are each at the center of our lives. We are each like the only person capable of making those decisions for ourselves, and what we decide to be valuable, you know, and otherwise we're just kind of going with the currents of other people's opinions and things. So that's something that I'm thinking about. I just wanted to check in about. I don't know if you're on a no-buy, or have been through times of not adding things in, what kinds of things opened up for you or were revealed for you. This to me feels like very much the tip of the iceberg for me. I've been working on some like kind of family history stuff over the past few years also, so I'm not surprised that this is some of the fruit from this endeavor, because I know that there's still healing that is needed there. I've come a long way in healing, and just bringing things into consciousness about some of the patterns that I learned growing up, which weren't the healthiest, you know, which is true for many, many people. But yeah, I think that that's something that I'm looking forward to in this year of contentment, and looking forward to allowing God to work out in me, is being able to like actually feel that feeling of I am enough, you know. I have enough and I am enough. And I think that there can still be a twist to that where it feels sort of like, if I want more, then hi. Hello, you're so cute. You want to be in the video? If I want more, then, you know, that's a moral failing or there's something wrong with me. And I don't think that. I don't want to get to that place, or maybe I'd like to get to a place where I don't believe that. But look at this cutie. Hello, you are a show stealer right here. But yeah, so anyway, so some definitely I'm feeling emotional, and I do think that is connected with stopping shopping. And at first I was feeling sort of scared of it in a way, because I was like, whoa, I don't want everything to like go off course here in my relationships and stuff, because I was feeling a lot of big feelings about little things, you know, which I realized were because some of my core wounds were being triggered, and core wounds which are really about being unimportant, you know, and not being considered, you know, just being emotionally invisible, or emotionally neglected. So it's uncomfortable for me to be feeling those feelings again, but I think it's really important and will end up being really healthy. So yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts if those are things that you have any experience with or can connect with. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.